This documentary-style script asks one bold question. What if the ancient Egyptians were far more technologically advanced than we've been taught? It walks through a series of physical artifacts, architectural measurements, and alternative theories to challenge the mainstream story that the pyramids were simply tombs built by a primitive society. The Great Pyramid of Giza is enormous. It covers about 13 acres, roughly the size of 10 football fields. But its size isn't what's shocking. What's shocking is how perfectly it was built. I don't say this often, but if you actually like this kind of thing, subscribe. You'll probably like the next videos too. So, subscribe, I guess. I mean, if this is your thing, just hit subscribe. Across that entire massive base, the ground was leveled to within less than 1 inch of perfect flatness. Modern skyscrapers and stadiums don't even require that level of accuracy. The outer stones were fitted together with gaps thinner than a human hair. And the adhesive used to hold those stones together? Modern chemists still can't figure out the formula, even today. The math of construction is also deeply puzzling. The pyramid contains over 2 million stone blocks, each one weighing around 5 tons on average. Some granite blocks inside weigh 80 tons. To build the whole thing in 20 years, as the official story claims, workers would have had to place 1 block every 2.5 minutes, day and night, without stopping. That seems almost impossible using only ropes, wooden sleds, and hand tools. Here's a fact that often gets overlooked. No mummy has ever been found inside the Great Pyramid. No burial goods, no name inscriptions, no biological remains, nothing. The stone coffin in the main chamber was completely empty when discovered. And this isn't just the Great Pyramid. Multiple pyramids across Egypt were opened in the 20th century from chambers that had never been broken into by thieves, and they were all empty too. So if these massive, incredibly precise structures weren't tombs, what were they? An aerospace engineer named Christopher Dunn spent over 50 years studying the Great Pyramid, not as an archaeologist, but as a mechanical engineer. His conclusion was controversial. The pyramid wasn't a tomb. It was a power plant. His theory works like this. 2 narrow shafts lead into a lower chamber. Dunn believes these shafts were designed to deliver 2 separate chemicals that, when combined, would produce hydrogen gas. That gas would then travel upward into the Grand Gallery, a tall, steeply angled passageway inside the pyramid, and flow into the main upper chamber. That upper chamber is built entirely from red granite, which contains quartz crystals. Quartz has a special property. When it's squeezed or vibrated, it generates electricity. This is called the piezoelectric effect, and it's the same principle used in modern electronics. Dunn's idea is that the pyramid was designed to capture the Earth's natural vibrations, run them through the granite, energize the hydrogen gas, and produce microwave energy that could then be broadcast outward wirelessly. It sounds wild, but Nikola Tesla, one of history's greatest electrical engineers, demonstrated wireless energy transmission in 1893 and later claimed he was rediscovering ancient knowledge, not inventing something new. In 2011, researchers sent a small robot camera through one of those narrow shafts in the Queen's chamber. These shafts had always been labeled as simple air vents by mainstream archaeologists. But what the robot found was surprising. Behind a sealed limestone door at the end of the shaft, there was a hidden room. Inside, the camera captured images of corroded copper fittings and markings on the floor that some engineers say look like electrical symbols. Copper fittings, chemical corrosion, possible electrical markings. In a sealed chamber untouched for 4,000 years. If this was just a burial monument, none of that makes sense. Egypt is full of tall stone pillars called obelisks. We think of them as decorative monuments. But some researchers believe they were functional devices. Specifically, receivers for wireless energy. The obelisks are made of the same quartz-rich red granite as the pyramid's main chamber. They're precisely shaped and carefully positioned across the landscape in patterns that some researchers believe form a kind of energy grid. Under this theory, the Great Pyramid was the power station, and the obelisks were the antennas that distributed energy across the region. Similar in concept to how cell towers work today. In 1990, a geologist named Robert Schoch examined the erosion on the body of the Sphinx and the walls around it. The erosion pattern was vertical, deep, rounded grooves running top to bottom. This type of erosion is caused by heavy rainfall, not desert wind and sand. The problem is that Egypt hasn't had that kind of heavy, sustained rainfall since somewhere between 7,000 and 9,000 years ago. If the Sphinx shows rainfall erosion, it must have been carved before that rainfall stopped, meaning it could be thousands of years older than Egyptologists believe. If true, this suggests an advanced civilization existed in Egypt long before the pharaohs we learn about in history class. A civilization that may have been the original designers of the pyramid complex, and whose knowledge was later inherited, but not fully understood, by later Egyptian dynasties. Deep inside the temple complex at Dendera, there are carvings on the walls that have puzzled researchers for decades. One carving shows what looks like a large glass bulb, with a snake-shaped filament inside, connected by a cable to a box that resembles an electrical generator. A person stands nearby, holding it up like a lamp. Mainstream Egyptologists say this is just a symbolic religious image, a lotus flower and a mythological serpent. But electrical engineers who have studied the carving say its proportions closely match an early type of electrical discharge tube called a Crookes tube, which was the forerunner of modern light bulb technology. In 2005, researchers actually built a working model based on the carving's dimensions. When they ran electricity through it, it produced light. More compelling still, the interiors of ancient Egyptian pyramids and temples have no soot. None at all. Torches and oil lamps, the tools mainstream history assumes workers used for lighting, produce a lot of soot that stains stone walls and ceilings. But in chambers where intricate carvings and detailed painted murals were created deep underground, the stone is clean. If workers weren't using fire for light, what were they using? Museums around the world contain ancient Egyptian stone vessels, bowls, vases, and urns, carved from some of the hardest materials on Earth: granite, basalt, diorite, and schist. These materials are harder than steel, yet the vessels are hollowed out with perfectly smooth, uniformly thick walls. Some have narrow necks that no chisel or hand tool could have reached inside. They don't wobble when placed on a flat surface. Their symmetry is accurate to thousandths of an inch. William Flinders Petrie, the founder of modern Egyptology, examined these artifacts in the 1880s and said the precision exceeded what was possible with Victorian-era tools. Modern analysis of drill holes in ancient granite has found spiral grooves suggesting the drill was cutting through stone at a rate that would require several tons of downward pressure, far beyond what any known ancient drilling method could produce. These objects are sitting in museum display cases right now, and nobody can fully explain how they were made. In 1898, a small wooden object was found in an Egyptian tomb dating to around 200 BC. It was filed away in a museum basement as a simple bird figurine. 70 years later, a doctor who was also a model aircraft enthusiast took a second look. What he saw was startling. The object, now called the Saqqara Bird, has straight, aerodynamically shaped wings, a vertical tail like a rudder, and a streamlined body that generates lift. Unlike actual bird wings, its wings are flat and angled in a way that matches modern aircraft design. The pyramids are still standing. The evidence is still there. The story isn't finished yet. If you made it this far, you're exactly the kind of person this channel exists for. The ones who ask why. The ones who aren't satisfied with easy answers. And honestly, that means a lot. If this video got your brain firing, hit that like button. It takes 1 second, but it tells the algorithm that real, thoughtful content deserves to be seen. That's how we keep doing this. Subscribe if you haven't already. No fluff, no filler, just deep dives into the questions that actually matter. New videos drop regularly, so hit the bell too, or you'll probably miss the next one. Got a theory? A disagreement? Something you think we got wrong or left out? Drop it in the comments. Seriously, some of the best conversations happen down there, and I read every single one. And if you know someone who loves history, loves mysteries, or just loves having their assumptions challenged, share this with them. Send it. Post it. Tag them, because good questions are better when more people are asking them. Thanks for watching. Now go start an argument in the comments, in the best possible way.